flash game. You don't need a camera.
That's right. Any kind of move. Any event that causes people to look. One thing that I'll do is I'll teach girls to dance. I'll teach them some dance move. They'll say, let me see your hands for a second. And I go like this with your feet, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter because what's happening is everyone looks over and sees me playing around with some cute girl. And all the other girls will be more attracted. Not necessarily conscious of it, but their behavior will subtly change. They'll happen to stand closer to me instead of closer to some other guy. They may not even be aware of it. It's unconscious. They'll sit there and play with their hair more if I'm standing nearby because they've perceived that I had more pre-selection. These sorts of things. Men do this too, right? If you happen to be standing at the bar next to the cute girl instead of over by the big empty spot or whatever.
Yeah, is that a coincidence? You just find yourself there, and then you have to say to yourself, wait a second, if I'm not ready to go in because she's grabbing a drink and I'm going to be interrupted by the paying and stuff, the ceremonial drinking, then I better not be standing so close to her because I'm telegraphing interest just by my proximity.
That's right.
5 to 8 feet.
You'll stale out the set.
Yeah,
just the fact that you were hovering nearby for a couple seconds, even if they didn't consciously notice you, you'll get worse responses when you open them because you staled out the set by hovering, lowering your value because it conveyed interest. Now, when I take her hand and spin her around, notice I led one step at a time. I want to emphasize this. You always get more compliance when you lead one step at a time. So I say, let me see your hand. I do a little spin. Now, usually what I'll say at that point is I'll say very nice or very graceful. I give her a qualifier to reward her for compliance, just like training a dog or something. If you get compliance, you reward it. A lot of pickup artists have...
Or training soldiers.
Anything, training any mammal or any intelligent animal.
That's my reframe for you.
Right. Well, I mean, I got the dog training thing from you, the dog training video.
And that's why I'm giving you the reframe.
Mystery's like, you gotta watch this dog training video.
Yeah. If you just take the word dog and exchange it with girl, it's amazing.
I know. Girls get really upset. They're like, so you're saying girls are dogs? Is that it? But no, I mean, we all are. I mean, people are animals who can be trained by reinforcing good behavior and punishing bad behavior. And so when I get compliance, I reinforce it. I say, oh, very nice or very graceful.
Or you may even light her cigarette or get her...
Oh, right. A lot of times I'll spin around, I'll say, very nice, that's what you get for being good. Oftentimes they'll say, well, what do I get if I'm bad? And then I say, well, you get a spank on the ass, and I'll spank them and they giggle. Only if they ask. Now, one thing that you may ask is, well, what's the point? Let's say that I spin her around. Okay, well, she spun around, but now what has that got you? What that's got me is a little bit more comfort, a little bit more compliance. She's more likely to do the next thing that I ask her to do. She's feeling a little bit more physically comfortable with interacting with me on this level. And the fact that I push her away afterwards creates more comfort. Makes her, because as soon as a girl feels like you're trying to get something, then immediately protection walls go up. She has to protect herself from, oh, he's trying to get something. Suddenly the defenses are activated, right? But if I'm kind of push her away and I turn my back and it looks like I'm not interested, then she doesn't really have to protect herself. Instead, she actually feels more of a challenge, like she wants to try and get it back. This is because, in speaking from ancestral times, women's survival depended to a great degree on their sexual attractiveness, and their ability to attract men, impacted their survival. Now, in today's world, obviously that's not the case, but the emotional programming is still there. And so it's more important to a woman to be attractive than for a man from that perspective. Obviously, both sexes need to be attractive, and it's important to them to be attractive, but for a woman, they're emotionally programmed such that their survival depends on it, and men aren't programmed that way.
Right. So basically, I don't hang out with a woman necessarily to protect me.
That's right.
Because her replication value is what entices.
Now,
and I'm hardwired for that. And for a woman, it isn't the man's replication value. That's why you'll see hot women with rich, really large men. I mean, can't deny it. I see it all the time in Miami, right?
Yeah.
So,
but even if you actually,
sense.
even if you're in some situation where you actually do need a woman's protection, we're still not programmed that way emotionally. We won't feel the emotion in the way that they will. So, what would be the next move? I pointed out thumb wrestling before, and what's interesting about thumb wrestling is that it's a little kid game. It's the sort of thing that little kids do when they're having fun. anything that's like a little kid game is good with interacting with women. Anything that's playful and fun that little kids do. And one of my favorite ones is body back riding, which is actually a really bad name because it sounds like sexual or something.
Yeah.
Have you ever done body back riding? They're like, have to come up with a better name for it. But basically what you do is you write letters on each other's backs.
Show it.
Right?
Show
So I'll
play.
say, turn around. Because usually she'll be like, well, what's that? Right?
And even just saying turn around is a compliance test.
Right. That's right. As a matter of fact, when I do it, I want to do it with her shoulders. I'll say, okay, turn around for a second, like this. Because if I just ask her to do it, she may say no. But I'm sort of creating more momentum in that direction by doing it physically as well.
Yeah, that ensures the success of her compliance
Right.
for that particular. There's an art form to every single compliance test, you notice?
Well, it's just like if I say, oh, come with me, and I start walking, I may get compliance. But if I take her hand and I say, oh, come with me, like that, I've created more momentum that way.
Right.
Okay.
What I like to do is say to the girl, here, hold this for a sec. All right, come with me. And that way, at the very least, she's going to have to come to me to return the item I handed her.
All right. You hand her the drink. Hold this for a sec. Okay, come here. Right?
Exactly. It's used as a lock and prop. I wouldn't use it as use a drink, though, because they might just take off with it.
So here's what we do for this routine. You just write letters on her back. I'll see if you can figure this one out.
No, I don't know what it is.
It was run. I'll always do run first, and then I'll do bad. B-A-D. Sometimes they figure it out, sometimes they don't.
Doesn't matter.
It's always fun, right?
It's always fun.
It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It only matters if it's fun.
And it looks like you're with her, you're hanging out, she's getting comfortable to your touch, growing accustomed to it, and adjacent sets are seeing that you're here with a girl.
That's right. And then I'll have her do it on me, right? I'll turn around and have her do it on me. So it's like this little game that we're playing. I do the same thing with any other game like that. Oh, I wasn't even.
Wow.
What was it?
Sexy.
Sexy.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's see. What's another good one? The TV test.
The TV test is great. I
Now-
first saw it, by the way, former student Tyler Durden.
Right?
He's the one that I saw perform this first. And it's been adapted and modified. And it really is ultimately just a bullshit baffles brains routine.
That's right. That's exactly right. Bullshit baffles brains.
I hope I've set it up properly.
Yeah. That's funny. You know, the body back riding is something that 26 showed me. I got that from 26.
Very
It's
good.
now popped back up into the community.
Yeah. 26, by the way, is a guy who was written about in the book The Game.
Yeah.
Right? Was that his nickname in there?
I think
another-
it was Extra Mask.
Okay, yeah. So 26 is Extra Mask
Extra Mask.
in the book The Game. The reason why they called him 26, by the way, is because he didn't lose his virginity until the age of 26.
After much training from Mystery.
Right. And he became an instructor,
That's right.
and
That's
his
right.
life is transformed.
Quite good. Quite good.
Oh, he's a great guy, very funny.
Actually, before I get into the TV test, I should make sure that we covered hugs properly, which is there's not much to it. There's the shoulder touch. This is the first move. I continue the set, keep talking, run my routine, whatever. Then there's the double shoulder clasp, which again, bullshit baffles brains. You come up with some excuse to do it. I'll throw it in as part of the conversation. Like I might say, you know what? When I was 10 years old, I was living in California, right? I keep talking.
And you're testing for how receptive she is to moving.
That's right. I'm testing, yeah, that's right. I'm testing for resistance, I'm testing for compliance, and so on. I'm getting little subtle indicators about how she feels, how she actually feels.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do the hand clasp, we get the double shoulder clasp, right? There's also the sideways grab, right? Where again, I'll look away, and I'll usually point towards her while I do it, or I'll look away. Or maybe I'll point to something out here, and then I'll push off.
See, what will happen is she's being held now, and if she looks up to you and you're down leering at her,
It's creepy.
it gets creepy. But if you're looking away, then she'll realize you're not that invested in
I'm
it.
not trying to get something.
It's really important to look away.
And so at some point next, I'm going to go in for a hug. And there's not much to it. Basically, at some point, she'll say something or do something that I can misinterpret as being worthy of being rewarded. You know, I might ask her some question and she answers it, and I say, oh my God, that's amazing, and I give her a hug, right? Once I get the hug, I push her off.
You know when I like to do that? After neg warfare.
Yes.
She'll throw a neg, I throw a neg. She throws a neg, I throw a neg. She throws another neg, and I go, oh, Jesus Christ, I love you. Get over here. All right, that's all you get.